Hi, my name is Rachel. Welcome back to another video. If I sound a little nasally, it's because I am. I am once again sick, but it's just a cold, I think. Well, we also have pink eye, but you know, the cold is not so bad, so I'm grateful for that at least. Today I thought I would do the mid-year book freak out tag. I've never done this before. I've watched plenty of them. I will definitely link a few of my favorite creators' mid-year freakout tags down below. Hi, video editing Rachel here to tell you that I forgot to mention earlier that there are two versions of this tag that I found when I was looking for the questions to record with, and there is the original set of questions which was created by Is That Chami, who I will have linked in the description down below. And I can't remember the second creator's name off the top of my head, but I will also have them linked down below. They are the ones responsible for adding the booktube questions about your channel onto the end of the tag list. Let's get back to filming, Rachel. Also, I literally just got an Amazon package, but it was for my neighbor, and we don't talk. So I'm trying to make sure she doesn't walk over here and see me recording, because that would be so embarrassing. Oh my gosh. Could you imagine trying to explain to my neighbor why I'm talking to my camera in front of a bookshelf? So let's get started. The first question is, how has your reading been so far in 2024? Oh my God, it's been absolutely terrible. I feel like I have been on a string of bad books this year. I'm picking up things that sound interesting to me at first, and then unfortunately I'm being let down by a lot of the books that I'm reading that I was really excited for. I am currently reading The Familiar and The Solstice Court, and I'm loving both of those, so I think that they will break the curse. I am also reading a book that I'm hating, but it's for a specific video that I knew I was gonna hate the book. If that goes up before this, I'll have it in the description. If not, check my channel for it. But 2024 has not been my book year. It hasn't been my year in general as far as like sickness and life, but it also hasn't been my year for finding great books. I have some gems in there for sure. A lot of them are not that good. The second question is, what is the best book you've read so far this year? I have 35 pages left of The Familiar, and I think it's the best book I've read so far this year. However, I also read Mislaid in Parts Half Known this year, which made me sob. It was so good. I just realized my cat was peeing for that clip. Hopefully you can't hear it. If you can, I'll voice over so you don't have to hear it. Astro, that was really bad timing, dude. The third question is, what's the best sequel you've read so far in 2024? I've already talked about it, but the best sequel I've read so far in 2024 is Mislaid in Parts Half Known. I listened to it on audio, and it was devastating in the beginning. It was so sad, and the themes were just really hard to hear and hard to read about, but in the end it was just really, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. Are you done? Sorry. And by the end of the book, it just had a slight air of hopefulness, and even though the whole book itself was kind of melancholy, I just thought it was really beautiful, and it was probably one of my favorite ones so far in the Wayward Children series. Down Among the Sticks and Bones is still one of my favorites. I think Mislaid in Parts Half Known is up there with it for sure. Question number 4 is, what's a new release that you haven't got to yet that you want to? I'm really excited to try The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. I have read the Winter Night trilogy and loved it. I've actually read that trilogy 3 times now in my lifetime, and it's just so beautiful. I think the way that she wrote the folklore in that, and the tone of the books, and the heaviness mixed with the whimsy was so beautifully done. And I know she has a middle grade series out, which is like horror middle grade, and I really want to get to that this year for, you know, scary season. So The Warm Hands of Ghosts is also high up there on my list of 2024 releases that I want to get to but haven't yet. Also, an arc that I have that comes out later this year is called Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews, I believe. Is that correct, Rachel? I don't fucking know. And it comes out on October 29th, which is actually my wedding anniversary. So I'm really excited for that one. The vibes of the cover, the summary, and also the author's vibes on Instagram are so like bog witch, forest witch, you know, fungus and whimsy and fae, and I am obsessed with their feed. Their Instagram feed is gorgeous. So this book, I have an arc of it and I need to get to it ASAP. It doesn't come out till October, so I've been putting it off just because I do want to talk about it closer to its release date. But I think I might read it in early September because I want to get to it soon because it sounds amazing. Number 5 is your most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Stormlight 5! Stormlight 5! We're getting Stormlight 5! It comes out in December and oh my god, Stormlight is one of my favorite, if not my favorite series of all time. The books are incredible. The writing, the world building, I can't even speak straight about it because it's just so good and I'm so excited for Stormlight 5. I kind of want to be a psycho and reread all 4 Stormlight books before December, but I have a lot of company on and off throughout the summer and I've also just been a really, really slow reader lately, so I don't know if I'll get any of that done. However, with that being said, when my kid goes back to school in September, who knows? I might turn into a reading machine when I have the free time again. But oh my god, I can't wait. This is the last arc with these main characters, and then I believe the second half of the Stormlight series is going to follow a new group of characters, and I'm terrified. Does that mean these characters are going to die? I really hope not. Brandon, don't do this to me, dude. Don't do it. Another book I'm so excited for that comes out later this year is the 3rd book in the Bloodsworn saga by John Gwynne, and I could not be more excited. The ending of book 2 was literally like I gasped. I was shooketh. I was like quaking. I'm like, who ends a book like that? You are crazy. And I can't wait to read the 3rd one. If book 3 is as good as book 1 and 2, this will be like my second favorite series of all time. It's so good. Question number 6 is your biggest disappointment so far of 2024. Editing Rachel here to say that I don't know why I said disappointment. I meant disappointment. I think my brain was combining deployment and disappointment because I was sick and I'm still sick. And that made me laugh, so I'm going to leave it and hope you enjoyed it. Biggest disappointment. This really pains me to say, but my biggest disappointment so far is... I did not just say disappointment again, did I? Oh my god. Lore of the Wilds by Annalise Sabrana. The art is gorgeous. The cover is gorgeous. The premise on paper should have been perfect for me, but unfortunately, the writing really wasn't good. I bought it brand new. I pre-ordered it. I was like the biggest hype person for it before it came out. And then I read it and it was just really immature writing. The plot didn't make sense. The characters were not really fleshed out. They were kind of surface level. There was like some awkward, cringe love triangle brewing by the time I DNF'd it because I couldn't even make it to the end, you guys. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I DNF'd it at like 85%. Like I was so close to the end and it's such a short book. I just couldn't torture myself with it anymore because it was disappointing and not written well, and unfortunately it wasn't for me. There are people out there who love it and I'm glad that they love it because I think the vibes and the tone of it were like fun and cool, but like the actual writing and the plot and the characters were just not that great in my opinion personally. My biggest surprise of 2024 so far was probably, I haven't read that many books yet this year. I think I'm on like 36 or something, which is a good amount, but you know, I don't have like hundreds of books to choose from for these questions. So out of those books that I've read, my biggest surprise so far this year is probably The Invocations by Crystal Sutherland, because going into this book, the first like 5 chapters, I actually was pissed off and I hated it because it had a lot of pop culture references. I famously don't love that in books. I think it ages the book. It really takes me out of the story when someone brings up TikTok. Like, I don't care about TikTok. I'm reading a book to escape real life. I don't need to hear about it. They also brought up COVID one time. I think they also talked about Twitter and Instagram, and I'm just like, don't do this. However, by the end of the book, I loved it. It was great. I think for YA, it really was dark, which was surprising. Yeah, and I think it was really great. It was very witchy. I loved the plot, and I thought the characters were intriguing. They definitely had good dimension, and there were 3 main characters, and they all stood out to me, and they were all very easily distinguishable, and I loved the way that they meshed together. So by the end, I was really just like, wow, I actually loved that. So cynical Rachel, who read the first 5 chapters, just needed to kind of be told to shut the fuck up because the rest of the book was fantastic, and I do think I would read it again so I could enjoy it more from the beginning. I've also highly recommended it to a couple friends because I'm like, hey, you guys need a fun witchy YA. The Invocations is great. Question number 8 is your favorite new to you author or favorite new debut author. Like I said before, I haven't read a ton of books so far this year. However, I recently read Mrs. Death, and I listened to the audiobook, which was narrated by the author Selena Godin, and her Your voice is beautiful. I was so confused the entire time I was reading Mrs. Death, Mrs. Death. I had no idea what was going on, but there were some gorgeous quotes in there. It gave me an existential crisis. It made me cry. It made me laugh. It made me go, what the fuck are you talking about? And I just think all around, it was a wild reading experience. I believe I gave it like a 3.5, but I would be so interested to read more from this author in the future. I think they have a backlist, so I'll have to check that out. And I hope that they continue to write because I would absolutely read more from them. I was really surprised at how much I liked it. I thought I was gonna hate it because I had only ever heard that it was weird and I didn't really know what it was about. And I still don't really know what it was about. It was kind of just about life and death and how you can't really stop death. You have to embrace it and it's part of life, and without death there's no rebirth, and everything that was dead becomes something new. And it was just, yeah, I was taken aback by how much I really liked it. Number 9 is newest fictional crush. I actually don't really have one this year, but the closest I've come so far to like a fictional crush is Santang from The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. He is just mysterious, and he starts out very aloof and you don't know anything about him, and you very slowly discover his backstory, and I just kind of love his character. Like every time he's on the page I'm just like hee, and I think he's great. I don't want to talk about him too much because I think part of the fun of The Familiar is that you find out those things on your own through the storytelling. So I'm just gonna leave it at he's mysterious, he's aloof, you don't know much about him at first, and you slowly see these things about him unravel and you learn more about him, and I love him. Number 10 is a book that made me cry. I've already talked about it before. Misladen Parts Have Known. Sobbing through the first like 20% of this book, and then I sobbed again a little bit in the middle. If you don't know, this book is about a little girl who works in a store that kind of has portals to all the other worlds out there, and they end up in a dinosaur world, and my kid is a dinosaur kid, and I just know that if he was gonna go through a door, that would be his door. And so I sobbed at the beginning for the setup, and then once they got into the dinosaur world, I kind of like got emotional again because I was like, this is my son's world. So it made me cry twice for 2 different reasons. Number 11 is a book you saw on TikTok or Instagram, social media, that you regret reading. Well, the first one is Lord of the Wilds. It was super hyped online. The publisher hyped it. It gained a lot of traction because it had such a beautiful cover, and I've already talked about it. It was beautiful on the outside, and I did not find the inside as intriguing. But another one is also A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal. I wanted to love this so bad. I went into this book, I dove in. I was diving head first. I was like, yes, everybody, I'm starting it. I posted about it like 12 times on my stories. I was like, you guys, this book is so good so far, blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately, it was only good for about the first 20%, and then it slowly and steadily went downhill. I don't want to spoil it for you because I know that a lot of people want to read it, and I do think it has merits, but for me, it's not what I wanted. It was not what I expected. It wasn't marketed the correct way at all, I think, and unfortunately, the setup was fantastic, and it just fell so flat. It felt like when you're going over a roller coaster and you get to the top and you're like really anticipating that drop, and then the drop comes, but then it just is like a little blip and you're not really excited anymore. That's exactly how reading this book felt. I don't think it was inherently bad. I just think it was a letdown because it wasn't marketed correctly, and it was way more focused on romance than any other plot point. And there were some plot things that happened that were just like very convenient, and there was no explanation as to how these characters succeeded. They just succeeded and you just kind of had to deal with it. So it was just a little flat for me, unfortunately. Question 13 is, what books do you still need to read by the end of the year? I really want to get to Malice by John Gwynne, and I also want to get to Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Faerie Abike Amide, and I also really need to read Nona the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. Nona is on my TBR for this month, so if I don't read it, if you guys don't see it in a wrap up soon, come for me in the comments. I need the judgment, I need the shame to finally pick up this book. Question number 14 is your favorite video that you've made so far this year. My favorite video is one that actually just went up recently from when I'm filming this, but that is my Wheel Spinner Decides What I'm Reading challenge. It was chaotic, and I had a lot of ups and a lot of downs, but I just think overall I feel like I was good with the editing on that video, and I loved the final product of it despite the chaos of the content. I think the final product for me, like, it felt well put together. I did like stats at the end, and I wrapped up the challenge like within the same video, and I just think that for me that was the most organized I had been so far in filming a video. And it was also just really fun to film because I got to do the wheel spinner, and I had no control over that, and I had no control over the time that it picked for me, and I included my son. He spun the wheel for me one time, so I just think it was a fun video, and it also has good memories in it for me because my son graduated preschool on the first day of the challenge, so there's like a clip of me being a little bit emotional in there after, and it was just an overall good few days and crazy few days. So I think that's probably my favorite video I've made so far, even though like it probably isn't the best video out there, and I know that that's fine, but for me it was my favorite that I've done so far. Question 15 is a video that you thought would flop but didn't. My first ever video was a May TBR, and I think it has 180 views, and to this day it's still my most viewed video. I was really surprised when I uploaded that video, and I got so much engagement on it in the first like 2 days, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. I didn't think my video would get pushed at all to people, so that was really fun to have happen to me. 180 views is definitely probably not a lot by some of your standards, but for me, having literally 0 subscribers, posting a video for the first time and getting that many views in 2 days, it felt cool. I was like, wow, people want to talk about books with me, so that was really fun. Question 16 is, are there any upcoming videos you're excited to make? I'm really excited to do my 5-star predictions, like audit, I guess you would call it, so that kind of rhymed, vlog where I read the predictions that I had made and see if they're correct. I don't think I'm gonna read all of them in one vlog, but I would like to do two or three of them and split it up into 2 vlogs, so that would be really fun for me because I think I'm gonna love those books, and obviously if you're loving books, you're gonna have fun talking about them and filming it. I do have some secret project books going up that I'm excited for those videos as well, and I also want to start testing out other people's TBR games. I don't want to, commit to one TBR game and then play that all the time, but I would love to experiment every month or every other month and play somebody's TBR game, see how the game treats me, just have a new way of choosing books because I am very indecisive when I choose my TBR. I feel like it looks like I make good decisions because I only show you the final result for the TBR, but like you don't see the process of me being like, what do I want to read? Oh my god, I have no idea. So I think it'll be fun to try that out as well. And the last and final question, 17, is do you have any channel goals by the end of the year? I would love to get to 100 subscribers. We're halfway through the year right now, and I am just over halfway to 100. I think I'm probably I think I have 68 subscribers, so I'm 68% to 100. That's crazy. I'm already almost there. So I feel like for me, booktube is just fun. I've had a lot of fun doing it while my husband's been deployed. It just gives me something to do other than doom scroll at night when I'm in bed after my son goes to bed, and it's been really nice to interact with other small creators. I've found a couple of small creators on booktube via my booktube newbie tag video that are just so nice, and I am subscribed to them now, and they're so sweet, and it's really fun to have new ways to find other people to talk to and other creators to support. But yeah, I don't feel like I want to set my goals unrealistically because I'm not going to sit here and be like, I want to get 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, because I know that's not going to happen. Booktube is really saturated, and for good reason. That's because there's a lot of creative people out there, and there's a lot of people who love books out there, which is fantastic. I will never complain about that. So my goal for the end of the year is 100 subscribers, and I would like to be somewhat consistent. I've been trying to do 2 videos a week. I did get sick with the flu a couple weeks ago, and I didn't upload at all, which kind of sucked because I like doing it. I like uploading. The next week, just hopped back in and did my best, and I've been doing my best for the last couple weeks through various sicknesses, up and downs with my kid, up and downs with life. So I'm gonna try really hard to be consistent over the summer with my kid home all day. I don't know how that will go. It'll probably end up doing a couple of weeks where I only have one video, which is fine, because this is just for fun for me, so I'm not gonna push myself. I'm not gonna let myself burn out on booktube right away because I just feel like that's gonna suck the fun out of it. So I'm gonna upload when I want to, do my best to film things. I'm just gonna try to go with the flow. If bad things happen, if I get sick, it's whatever. But yeah, I would like to be consistent, get 100 subscribers. I just want to have fun. I think one of my goals is just have fun, and I think that's probably the most important goal, because if you're not having fun, then what the fuck are you doing? Because I personally don't like to not have fun. If I'm not having fun doing something, I stop immediately. I love to DNF. I will never force myself to read a book, she says while literally forcing herself to read a book for a video. If you've made it this far in the video, leave the tag emoji in the comments down below, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!